Greetings, everyone. I'd love for you to get into your seats because we have a very special start to this meeting, and I hope you will enjoy it. Hi, sweetie. And then we're going to talk after. So,
are you recording, Chrissy?
You guys all ready to go? All right. Grab something to drink or eat and park your little butt skis in the seats. And now I'm going to introduce off the page Reader's Theater because of your special holiday gift. Take it away, Hilary.
Wait till everybody grabs this.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be good.
No, I mean there's still some people taking care of business.
Do a harmonica.
Do you have one?
Only in my imaginary one, like my imaginary one.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, sorry, get you back.
We have a bar.
Well, we're just waiting for everyone to find a seat. Okay. The Exit Interview by David Beckman. Well, you won't get me back in there, not with that ending.
The ending was brilliant. The whole film was brilliant.
I'm starving. Let's go eat.
At 10 o'clock, forget it. It's too late. Besides, you had all that popcorn.
Popcorn isn't filling. All I can think of is the Golden Walk. That's sesame chicken.
That's a no-no, and you know it. Come on home. There's yogurt in the refrigerator.
Excuse me, did you just see the film?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes.
I'm from Bissell and Bodine Information Gathering Service. Would you take a few moments to answer some few questions about it?
Well, we're in a hurry.
No, ask away.
Oh, well, if you're sure. Great. First, how would you rate it for general appeal? Tennis tops, extremely appealing, down to a 1 for no appeal whatsoever.
9. It was an excellent film. To see behind what goes on in that world, to get a glimpse into the hearts and souls of those people. Very intelligent and well presented.
And you, ma'am?
4.
Why? Why?
It was unrealistic.
Okay, a 9 and a 4. Next, how would you rate the direction?
Oh, it was excellent. The strongest point, in fact.
Meaning 10?
Well, 9, certainly.
I give it a 4. No, 3.
Oh, please. His vision, his mastery of the language of cinema, his fluid approach to scenes, his clarity, superb.
It had too many long shots and slow dissolves. It needed more close-ups on faces.
Honey, this director is famous for his sweep, for the, quote, wide eye, unquote, of the camera.
The shots are boring.
Right, a 9 and a 3, thank you. Next, the acting, how would you rate it?
7.
A 3 and an 8.
Pardon?
Everyone gets a 3 but him. He gets an 8.
Giancarlo?
He was gorgeous.
Well, let's focus on a couple of scenes. The eating scene, how would you rate?
Which one?
There was just one eating scene.
No. There was the scene where the woman wears a blue dress and sits with her legs crossed, dangling her shoe.
Yes, that's the one on the terrace.
And eats raw oysters. I give that scene a 2.
2.
Then there was the other one in the bedroom.
That wasn't an eating scene
Why not?
because no one ate anything.
You weren't watching, were you? Someone did eat in that scene, all right. She did. Stan, let's see if you were watching. What did she eat in the bedroom scene?
Chocolate.
Oh, the chocolate. Yes, she did eat chocolate.
I give that scene a 9. This was a woman who knew how to eat chocolate. Took her time, held it in her fingers, licked it slowly, finally sucked out the creamy center. Very believable.
9 for the bedroom scene. And you, sir?
I'm not sure. Aren't we skipping ahead? We were on the...
On the terrace, yes. You, ma'am, gave that a 2.
She was too passive in that scene, too willing to go along with him. That was bad enough. But on top of that, the oysters. All I could think of was the last time I ate oysters.
Oh, no, Glenda.
We were at the shore. They were supposed to be fresh. Stanley here had picked them out carefully at the outdoor market and said they were perfect. I ate 4 of them. They were too salty. That should have tipped me off. And what's the word? Chewy. Way too chewy. Cut to the emergency room, 3 in the morning. I'm up chucking in quarts.
Glenda, please, my goodness.
I'm dying, losing meals I'd had weeks earlier, passing out, and pop, in goes a needle for intravenous feeding, liquid. What I'm saying is I was brought back from the, I'm not saying I was brought back from the brink, but I saw, not saying I saw the big light but and heard Montavani, but I was sick, wretched. All because of Stanley's oysters. I give the scene a 1.
Well, that's objective. The scene was a 10. It was the pivotal scene of the film and wonderfully done. And it wasn't about oysters. In fact, it wasn't even about the woman. It was his scene. Here we saw his emerging discontent, his frustrations with the pettiness of the household, his deep wish for fulfillment on some other plane, not as a father or a husband, but as a man. As essential man, autonomous yet required to act, to move in the world yet not be of it. Man as thinker, yes, but also as agent of change. It goes back to Camus, to Sartre. I was moved by it. A man balancing his ontological concerns with his existential responsibilities. Riveting. It's a 10.
Yakka, yakka, yakka.
I beg your pardon.
Always with the big words.
Only a few minutes to go. The love scene, how do you rate it?
1.
9.
I give it a 1 because first, I think it was unnecessary to the film. And second, I object on philosophical grounds to sexual acts in film.
Oi.
I won't bore you with why.
Thank you, Lord.
Except to say, the eye is drawn to people in the act of sex. Not as characters in a drama, but as actors pretending, or not pretending, as the case may be. And we are caught in that never, never land between reality and fantasy. And we ask, are they faking? And the mere act of asking destroys the illusion. Plus, the mind and the senses are affected in a way that traduces the scene's meaning in the film. Viewing sex turns one willy-nilly into a voyeur and unwittingly takes one out of the film, out of the story, and deep into...
Into what?
Nothing.
No, I'm intrigued. You've obviously thought a great deal about this.
As a viewer, one is drawn into the recesses of one's own...
one's own.
Obsessions.
But that's good. Shouldn't art do that?
No, definitely not.
I'm increasing my vote to a 10.
And why?
Jean, what's his name?
Giancarlo.
Gorgeous. Killer body. Beautiful shoulders.
Thank
and
you,
arms.
Roger Ebert.
His muscles so beautifully formed, and those cute veins down the biceps. The muscle there, you just feel the blood pumping, and the way.
Very intellectual, Glenda. You getting all this?
Everything isn't intellectual, Stanley. This is a movie. Entertainment, not one of your courses. Where was I?
Blood pumping?
His body, his chest, but more than that, the way he moved like he was dancing. She was dancing to his rhythm and lovemaking. It was a dance. It was sensual. It was beautiful. When he removed her blouse so slowly, and she in turn unbuttoned his shirt. No, pop the buttons off, one after the other, pop, pop. Did he care they'd be sewn back on later? No. Then he removed her bra. Not by making her turn and unsnapping it clumsily with cold fingers, but by removing it a strap at a time with his teeth. First one strap, then the other, her neck arched back, his hand cradling the back of her head, supporting her. Then he kissed her eyelids, her neck, her breasts. That's art. No big wide sweep, just one heck of a good close-up.
Well, you certainly vividly play back.
Oh, wait, I'm not through. The scene was about more than sex. It showed that he loved her, pure and simple. He cared for her. He adored her. For all her faults, sure, she had trouble keeping the house straight, she slept late, she ate too much, but he loved her anyway. Few men, if any, have that capacity.
What capacity?
Don't encourage her.
To love a woman for who she is, for her natural qualities. It's tragic, that's what it is. So many lonely women, trying to be something different than they are. Lose weight, look younger, be smarter. All for what? For love, which won't come anyway, because if it were there, it would be there, period. End of problem.
Can we get back to the film?
Sure, Stan. Back to the film.
We're almost done. The scene in the church?
Perfectly realized, deeply moving. I commend the cinematographer for that scene. The lighting was extraordinary. After the dim lighting of the bedroom scene, indicating shame, things hidden from view, etc., here we are in the quiet sanctuary of the church. And the fact that it was a country church in plain surroundings showed the ordinariness of our earthly quest, while, of course, the light was a metaphor for grace.
It was too damn bright. Wasn't it supposed to be dusk? Where do you see light like that at dusk? Streaming in like there's a floodlight hanging up there? Nowhere I've been. But then I haven't been to Spain, so excuse me.
Finally, the last scene.
The graveyard scene.
Phony.
Deeply moving. Her death symbolized
It's ridiculous that she died.
Symbolized in him the death of his more earthly, sensual side.
Such a male way to wrap it up. Get her conveniently out of the way.
He would be alone in a sorrow universe with hostility next to him in bed.
All so he could conveniently chase the chippy at the cappuccino shop.
What? He had no interest in her. She had nothing to do with it.
Ha! He made eyes at her all through the cappuccino scene.
Getting back to the grave scene.
1,
10,
0.
11. The scene had all the tragic undercurrents of the best of Buñuel, Bertolucci, Kubrick. It had nothing to do with another woman, for Christ's sake. It was about his fate, his destiny. He'd come full circle, and the symbolism is complete.
Is that what you do if something happened to me, Stanley? Just lower me down, spout off a few things about what I symbolize, and head for the chippy at some goddamn coffee shop?
Well, that wraps things up. Thanks for your time. I'll just be moving on.
Stanley, I'm hungry. I'm going to the Golden Walk.
It's so late.
I'm going for sesame chicken. Are you coming or not?
I don't think so.
That's really too bad.
I'll be at home. I have to get up pretty early.
Oh, sure. Oh, sure.
Ticket for 1, please.
Driven by Susan Bono. Marriage is all about togetherness. But even after 37 years of better or worse, I'm not always sure what that means. My husband and I often spend our evenings together in separate parts of the house. I'm upstairs reading a book. He's down in the shop tinkering with his collection of broken guitar amplifiers. He usually dozes off in front of the TV, so we don't end up sleeping together, which has its own challenges when we do make the effort. Our togetherness issues don't end there. I want to travel the world. He would rather stay at home and save for the disaster I don't think is coming. He loves tomatoes. I'm allergic. We will never get the garage cleaned out because we're too busy pointing at the other person's stuff and saying,
Why do we still have this?
Despite how often our tastes diverge, there persists in my mind's eye an image of a sweet old couple holding hands as they totter off into the sunset, nearly blind and deaf, poignantly frail, but united by a deep, wordless understanding. This dream of an indestructible bond forged of history and common purpose will not die. It may be what keeps us married. Take our recent car trip, for example. There we were, just the two of us, 5 minutes into a 3-hour drive, stuck at a light behind a sedan that moved so slowly it was the only vehicle to get through the intersection on the left turn arrow. As my husband watched it putter off into traffic, he began filling the car with his indignation. My husband's frustration with bad drivers is nothing new. After 37 years, you'd think I would have developed an appreciation for the way he expresses it. Sadly, I have not. Instead, I've been known to say things like,
Wow, that was close. Why don't you back off a little? Maybe they're having a bad day. Why are you yelling? I'm the only one in the car who can hear you.
and whenever I offer these bits of sage advice, I always expect my better half to say,
Thank you.
But on this particular day, I thought of a response I'd never tried, one that would surely help him put this incident into perspective.
How upset are you really?
My husband took a deep breath and began to elaborate. A wiser person would have admitted defeat, but in the pursuit of togetherness, I took my own deep breath.
So,
I said, trying to keep my voice even.
is there something you want me to do about it?
You could be on my side for once.
He said as the light changed. That comment stopped me cold. Didn't he see I'd been on his side, faithfully trying to help him cope? Something in me snapped. To hell with togetherness. Two could play at this game, and I was going to beat him at it. The sluggish car in front of us at the next flight gave me an opening.
You idiot!
I yelled, making my husband jump.
What's taking you so long?
A moment later, we merged onto the freeway where a van in the next lane did one of those swervy little dances too close to the lane line.
Learn to drive, you turkey.
I shouted. If I'd been behind the wheel, I would have honked.
What are you doing?
Didn't you see that?
Yes, but
He could have come over the line.
yes.
My sweetheart said in a tone one saves for small children.
But you have to save it for the time it really counts.
His call for reason fanned the flames.
Oh, you mean times you think it counts. So you're the only one in this car who can express themselves.
Calm down.
Said the man who should have known from his own experience the effect these words would have.
Calm down! We're surrounded by assholes! Isn't that what you've been trying to tell me?
My husband sighed like a man who has been wandering lost in the desert and comes upon an unmarked intersection. In the thick silence that followed, he drove with his jaw clenched, and I hunched in the passenger seat, exhausted. Our route took us off the freeway onto a picturesque two-lane highway with vineyards, old barns, redwood groves, and slow cars. Soon we were trapped behind a camper with no working brake lights that ignored every turnout. I noticed how hard my husband had to work to maintain momentum up the steep grade, knowing that the object we followed might at any moment become immovable. Finally, the behemoth lumbered onto a side road without signaling.
Asshole.
I said quietly, but with conviction.
What did you say?
My husband asked cautiously.
He was an asshole, don't you think?
My mate kept his mouth shut and his eyes on the road, but a glimmer of a smile crossed his face. Soon we were set upon a tailgater in a BMW. It didn't matter that there were 4 cars ahead of us and we couldn't go any faster.
Asshole!
I said a little more firmly as the road hog squeezed by and began pestering the car in front of us. My husband grinned.
Wow, the sky is so blue today, isn't it?
A few miles down the road, the driver of an oncoming truck, attempting to shave 20 seconds off his road time, pulled out to pass on a double yellow. Time slowed and all noise ceased at his approach, giving us a glimpse of what the end of the road is really like. Along with proof, we'd chosen the right traveling companion. My husband and I felt connected in the way that only long married couples can, ready to face the sunset together. Without the need to say a word, we raised our middle fingers.
Driving in the Dark by Jo-Anne Rosen. He knew it would be a mistake to let Bella drive. She was hard on cars, and his was past its prime.
You don't want to drive all day, Charles. How far is it to Joshua Tree? You'll need a break.
I'll be fine. You need a holiday from driving.
Bella drove an airport shuttle full time in city snarling traffic.
Bullshit I do. I like my job.
She sulked all the way to Modesto. Finally, he decided it wasn't worth spoiling their vacation, and he pulled off the highway at a truck stop.
Promise not to speed, Bella?
Cross my heart.
She was all smiles and dimples now. They got out of the car to stretch. Bella flounced over and pressed herself against him.
Thanks, babe.
The trucker turned to stare. She was a little plump, a knockout in tight jeans and low-cut shirt. Charles, thin and angular, relished the contrast. It was cool in the valley for February and windy. Under a cloudless sky, Highway 99 went straight on forever through flat and stubbled fields, bypassing the towns. Bella wove between double-load semis, talking nonstop about her psychology classes at City College.
You really should express your feelings more. I think you're getting emotionally constipated.
She drove faster. The speedometer read 80 and rising.
Bella, you promised not to speed.
There's nothing to see. It's ugly. Let's just get through it.
This really, really sucks. How can I ever trust you?
Lighten up, will you? You're so neurotic about your car. It's making me crazy.
He took a deep breath. This was only day one. They stopped for lunch in a hamburger stand in Fresno, and Charles reclaimed his keys, though not without a fuss. He promised she could drive again later, but neither of them believed it. They ordered burgers and coffee, and he spread out the map.
We can take this alternate route to Bakersfield. Get off 99. Go through the small towns. There'll be something to look at.
Bella shrugged. Back in the car, she sat with arms folded across her chest, staring ahead. Charles ignored her. He enjoyed driving on two-lane roads, closer to the details, a decaying barn, water pump, large rolls of something stacked in intervals. They were bales of cotton, he realized. Now Bella was snapping photos out of her window. She turned and trained the camera on him. He made a horrible face, and she burst out laughing. He breathed easier.
It's still boring as shit. Where are those little towns?
Well, the sky isn't boring.
A haze was staining the horizon bluish brown, like a veil over a bruise, and spreading as they watched. The wind picked up, rattling the car, and the cars ahead were slowing down.
Something weird's going on.
He turned on the radio, but could raise only static.
Pull over. I can't get a clear shot through the windshield.
Pull over where?
The road had no shoulders. He drove on. The sky darkened abruptly, and the wind shrilled. In the fields, cotton bales began to tumble. He switched on the brights, and they rolled up the windows. Within minutes, he was following the red lights of a car not 10 feet ahead, and the car behind was tailgating. The air was thick with dust that blotted out the sun.
What is this?
Dust storm. The damn cotton had stripped the soil.
He talked, to distract her and himself, about pre-European grasslands in California, while visibility continued to decline. Soon he could barely discern the taillights before them or the headlights behind.
It's like a recurring dream I've had.
Tell me about it.
They're driving dreams. I'm driving in pitch blackness and I can't see a thing. I don't know where I am or where I'm going. I've had them for years.
Well, they're clear as daylight to me.
What?
You're blind to your innermost feelings.
That's an interesting possibility.
You really are a lost soul. I could help you if you'd let me.
I don't think we'd have a healthy therapeutic relationship, babe. You're not supposed to sleep with your clients.
I don't like that rule.
They were quiet for a few minutes. Then the car shook and swerved in a sudden gust, and she burst out.
Jesus, are we going to get out of here alive?
Bella crossed herself, something he had never seen her do. He tightened the grip on the wheel.
Everyone's driving so slow, even if we collided, we'd be fine. It's under control, believe me.
Under control. Now there's the root of your problem.
Hey, I'll look into those dreams, okay?
you're just saying that. I know you'll never do it.
No, I mean it. I still have all my psych books from college.
You never told me you studied psychology.
Yeah, I did the whole Freudian analysis, A to Z. It took me a year. The dreams must have started after that.
You analyzed yourself?
No, it wasn't hard. I figured out lots of stuff.
Like what?
Oh, childhood trauma, parents, the usual.
Why'd you stop?
What's the use of stirring up the same stuff over and over again?
That's so typical of you, Mr. Charlie Know-It-All.
Isabella, you're not helping this lost soul by insulting him.
Oh,
She stared straight ahead, blinking.
look, is that a turn signal? Pull in there.
Charles followed the car ahead off the road to where one arc light burned dimly on a tall pole. It was a diner, its parking lot filling with cars. He turned off the ignition, surprised to find his hands were shaking, and looked quickly at Bella. Her mouth was a tight line as if she were trying not to cry. He didn't know what to say to her. They got out and struggled a few yards to the door, hands over their faces, gritty dust in their mouths. Inside, the diner was brightly lit, and people stood in every available space, chattering excitedly. Charles, frozen like a deer in headlights, stared at the crowd.
Bella, where are you going? Stop!
But she hadn't heard him. She elbowed her way through the counter, and he followed in her wake.
Hello, how you doing?
She boomed cheerily right and left, and strangers took their hands and greeted them. Trays of coffee and burgers glided by, and dishes clattered in the kitchen. A TV set was mounted on a shelf in one corner, flickered on and off, spluttering, unintelligible sound. Someone fiddled with the settings. Suddenly, the screen came into focus. A newscaster was describing a 25-car collision on Highway 99 during the evening commute. Everyone stopped talking and turned to watch. They saw smoke and flames, twisted and blackened cars, clumps of soot-faced people, ambulances, body bags. It could be one of the circles of hell, Charles thought. His hands still trembled. Then the screen went back. A young girl cried, "Daddy's on that road!" And someone else said, "Geez, we almost went that way."
So did we.
Landlines were down, cell phones not working. The mood in the diner lowered. People spoke in anxious whispers. Bella turned to Charles, damp-eyed with arms open.
Mr. Know-It-All, you saved our lives.
He wasn't sure he knew anything at all anymore, other than the need to be held and the heat of her embrace.
Thanks so much. You're the best audience. Oh my gosh. Really quiet, nobody coughing. It was fabulous. So
Must be some writers.
yeah, I think they're literary people. So we are Off the Page Readers Theater. Well, 3 of us. We have a troupe of 6. And I don't have any flyers, but my business cards are on the back table where the name tags are if you want to get in touch. And thank you so much. I'd like to introduce our players. Jeff Savage. Beth Moise.
Hilary Moore.
And while they are disassembling their stage, I wanted to let you know we've got something exciting happening in 2023. And Linda Reed and Becky Smith and Milena Elginelli are going to be producing a 10-minute play contest. So Becky, just give them a little bit of a preview of what's going to be coming up.
Well, first of all, Linda started it. But basically what we're going to do, and Milena, yeah. And so what we're going to do
come here in the frame.
is we're going to have, we haven't decided the date or the time yet, but we're going to have a 10-minute play contest, and we may have off-the-page readers. We're talking with Hilary about it, to do the top 3 readings. And then in addition to that, we may do something similar to the no contest, where we're going to put in the top playwrights, the winners for the past contests, and then in the front and then in the back have other 10-minute plays. So that's kind of the goal for this particular contest. Thank you, Linda.
Great.
Thank you,
Thank you, Linda. We'll release details as they become available. So thank you all.
Get writing.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. What I'm going to suggest is everybody get some snacks. We're going to set up for our presentation today and all the goodies. So take about 10 minutes or so, and then we'll reconvene. And
there's a painting or a piece of art for each and every poem in the book. So it's kind of cool. And so it's kind of like, I wanted to first call it like the secret life of paintings, but that was already taken. So I called it the clandestine life of paintings and poems. It's available on Amazon. I hope to have a book launch in January. I couldn't get author copies from Amazon until January. That's how long it's taking. I mean, if you order one, you can get it a lot. You can get it in 2 days with Prime. But I couldn't actually get my author copies, like a volume of books, until January. So, look out for an announcement that I'll be having a book launch, and I may be doing that with Susanna Solomon, another one of our authors here. But she has a new book of short story out. So we've been talking about that. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. Got the picture. Okay. So my new book is finally out. I'm very excited. And for anyone who hasn't heard of this, it's called A Swift Kick to the Thorax. It's science fiction, as you might guess. And the short description is: when space poachers release Earth animals on an alien world, threatening a fragile new alliance, they anger the wrong people. A veterinarian, an accountant, and a furious sign language fluent gorilla are coming for them.
They gotta describe at least one of those characters. The squid character.
It's also some cool aliens, yes. There's because those are the 3 that start off on the planet, and then there's also other characters that start off on the space station, where there's another human, and there's an alien who looks kind of like an octopus and is very entertaining, and an alien who looks like a praying mantis, and he's one of my favorites because he drives a taxi on the space station, and he learned English from Russian humans, so has a very interesting accent. So he's great.
Tell them about your
Oh yeah, this is in a contest for covers. So I don't think I'm probably gonna win everything, but it made it past the first round, and that's all very exciting, which is great because I made the cover myself. And
That's great.
it took a lot of work. I had a lot of different rough drafts and ideas in which direction to go. But I think this worked out well, because if you can't see it, this is a veterinarian's prescription pad that is prescribing the title of the book, The Swift Kick. There's a bite missing in that corner. It looks a little beat up, and it's floating in space next to a pen. So I think that
Can we vote on the title?
I think that round is passed, but I'll let everybody know. But I'll double check.
Have you heard anything about round 2? Because a lot of us did vote.
I'll have to double check, because there was some iffiness on whether it was still votable or not. But at any rate, it's up there and it's getting a lot of views, and the word is getting out. So that's that's really what matters. But yeah, I'm glad it's gotten that far, because I put it together myself and I have no concept of it isn't good enough other than it's pretty, but people are saying good things. So yay.
Very nice.
Yeah.
And Mara is going to be our prose anthology editor for 2023. Stay tuned for more weirdness.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. The best kind of fun.
My name is Neil Brookstaller. My 3rd book published not too long ago. It's the publisher did the cover design. Take a look. It's about two bachelors who are taking it through to time, getting to meet certain famous people, like, for example, can you guess who this is? I drew the picture.
Shakespeare?
What's that?
Shakespeare?
No, not Shakespeare. He's a famous, he's originally from Spain.
Goya?
What's that?
Goya?
No, no.
I think you better. Tell me that.
It's all the way in the back.
His name is Cortez. Hernando Cortez, who conquered the famous Spanish Aztecs. And in this one, I think you should be able to recognize him.
It's hard to see.
Yeah, it's small for us to see.
Abraham Lincoln. And it's about two men taking a trip through time who got to meet these famous people like Cortez, Abraham Lincoln, Mary and Joseph and the baby Jesus, and various others. It's about taking a trip through time, and they finally made it back home, just about, but unfortunately, they didn't remain home. And the other stories are short stories. One about an animal lover who got himself in trouble. One's about various animals and how they live and so forth. Like, for example, 3 mice. And that's pretty much it. So my third book published not too long ago.
Nice.
Thank
you.
Are we ready to
Yeah, I
wrap
think
it
we
up?
are, yeah.
Oh,
Why don't I just do a
and
share screen?
on with the show.
We'll see if this works,
It'll work fine.
because you'll have to do the advancing. So we're having to use this PDF because the PowerPoint failed on both of ours. But one thing to say to everybody, to remind you, can you see this? The screen sort of?
Yeah, we're gonna put.
This
some
is,
presentation
this
up.
is a, yeah, it's a PDF.
Yeah.
So the thing is, remember, we're all part of California Writers Club. As the president of that club, I want to welcome you to the club
Very
because this branch is one of the most important branches in the club. It's the largest. It's the 4th oldest branch, what they call the core 4. And we are extremely proud of our position within the club.
Thanks.
And the club is going to do a number of really different and exciting, I hope, things in this coming year.
It won't let me do screen.
You should have gotten your literary review in the mail. And I have announced, you'll get it in
It
the
won't let me
newsletter
do
tomorrow.
screen
The
sharing.
literary review is only going to go every other year now. So we're going to do some alternative kind of publications. And we are, I'm just going to tease this. We are in a discussion with Les about the Redwood poetry book that's going to come out and making that a CWC poetry book. So it would be all of the 22 branches might submit poetry to our collection, if you will. And that way we'd sell it to the 2,000 members, which seems like a good idea. Okay, go ahead. So just to say this to you, the mission of California Writers Club, like our branch, is to foster professionalism and to create a writing community, to mentor new writers and provide support to writers and support in our community. Go ahead. Oh, thanks for doing that.
Hold on. Sorry. Okay.
Okay, we've just crafted a statement on diversity, and of course, as a nonprofit in California, we represent that we don't discriminate in any way. But a number of our author members and our executives felt it's important to really say that we are a club that believes in diversity, fairness, and inclusion. Now, we're not trying to suggest that we mean that in terms of what you write, because of course we are restricted, not political and not religious and not profane, if you will, up to some limit. But we do want to include all kinds of writing, all genre, all types of writing, all types of writers. So we really want the club to feel that it is inclusive. Go ahead, Tracy. Okay, so now let's go on. Tis our member day. Now, we were established in 1975. There were 45 members. Helen Barnhart was the founding person, really. She came from Marin and was a real force of nature. We're the 4th of the 22 branches. We're the largest. Oh, I corrected this, and this is the wrong one. We actually have 226 members, not I keep getting last year's number, but we have 226 members right now. Go ahead. Now, if you didn't know it already, our lovely and dynamic president, our vice president right here, Chrissy. I saw Jeannie Sloan's here in the back. Go ahead and stand up, Jeannie, our vice president or president. Okay. Elena, where's Elena? She's in the back. Elena, who is our stalwart. She's the steadiest person in the club. Nancy Martin was secretary for a period, and she stepped down, and I think Chrissy's taking in an interim for a little while. And that's always a difficult position. These are our executive council. Go ahead. We also want to celebrate our past president, Sean Langwell, right there. Myself, as member of the chair. Our Vault Master in the back, Tommy Whitener is. We don't know exactly what that means, but I guess he's got bank qualities. Yeah. Adele Layton is this year. In the back first. Very large. Bernstein is our poetry editor-in-chief. And Joel Burnett is still working part-time, but she stepped down as our web manager, but she's done God knows how many years as our web manager. Did a great job. And Chrissy now, if you go to the next slide, you'll see that Chrissy is now the website manager. She's also the newsletter manager. She's also and Sean is PR. Sky Blaine is not here, I don't think, no. But Sky Blaine is also our poetry editor for the newsletter. And if you've noticed, our newsletter is one of the most dynamic, pretty well done newsletters in the club. So there's our website, and I think under this new stewardship, or can you be a steward? I don't know. Or can you dance? I'm just relating to I posted on my website yesterday my own personal Christmas trading card with me in a Scottish kilt. No, it's not me. It's somebody a lot less.
Mel Gibson by chance?
Bulky, yes. And Lynette is doing this and then. On our Facebook.
Bagpipes, though. That was the only thing.
Yeah. Those are my tartans, though. I am a steward. Wow. Now, the other thing is that we have this monthly newsletter, and I promoted this the other day at a Rotary because it's kind of unusual since we're writers, but one of the really cool things that we're now doing because of Judy is instead of writing, the notes, which all the presidents hated, by the way, we all hated writing our monthly note. Judy broadcasts them, she podcasts them, and you can listen to them. And I think that's a great new innovation, and I'm sure other clubs will do it.
Nah.
Now, if it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't exist. And if it wasn't for our meetings, which are smaller because of COVID and so on, and maybe different venue, whatever. But the fact is, look at this core right here. This is a great group. And you're all to be complimented. I put Rod in there especially because Rod's really become one of our, he's right back here in the Santa hat. He's become one of our steadfast members attending salons and doing other things and kind of picking it up. He's going to be you're in the literary review, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. He's one of the 18 of you in the literary review. That's fantastic.
And Rod volunteered at fair.
And is Cher here? I saw Cher. Yeah, there she is. Cher was our coordinator for a long time. Yeah, and she was clearly known as the flyer lady. She took care of all the flyers. But thank you, Cher.
And now what do we say, Roger? Flyers? We don't need no.
Yeah, we don't know stinking flyers. Now, all right. Now, if you didn't attend this, you missed the most fun we've had in 3 years. Because this costume party, Robin and Mara and others put on this fantastic costume party. And the right people won, of course.
Did you wear a kilt?
No, I'm at the top right there. It's probably him.
Himself.
Sean with the bag on his head, the unknown writer.
Yeah.
And Mara, I mentioned to a club that I was talking to that one of our members came as, where's Waldo? And she stood all over the walls and we never could see her. And Judy's the Queen of Hearts, what can we say?
Yeah.
Author supports, thanks to Jeannie Giuseppe, right back here.
We're gonna pick it up again at the next live meeting.
Sounds good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this will be at the next live meeting. I'm just repeating for Zoom.
Oh, good for you. We really want to thank Jeannie Sloan for author launch. She's been a stalwart in promoting this and doing it each year and keeping it alive. We're in the mix of planning where it will be exactly, but it is a free event to the public. We'll have 18 to 20 authors typically read for 5-minute excerpts of their new novels. And thank you again, Jeannie, for all of it. And there's just a picture of one of the years of all the different readers. By the way, if you don't show up, Jeannie excludes you from the club for the rest of your life. Takes it very seriously. Now, again, we have to thank Linda Reed and Robin Gebhardt for their wonderful homes and their wonderful welcoming and hospitality at our salon and at the Writers Circle. Very similar kinds of activities, but with their own flavors, their own differences. And I have to tell you, I've been going to a couple of the salons recently, and they really are a lot of fun. I will say, and that may be my fault, I mentioned how in the old days, you couldn't be critical. It was verboten, it's like only positive. Because the first meeting I was at, someone read a political play about a political character, still in the news. And I cryptically said, that poem's not done yet. Meaning the story wasn't done. And that member wrote a letter to the president complaining, how dare I criticize someone. Now I tell that story only because we need to understand the culture and the rules sometimes. But the other nice thing is Robin just said, forget that. So the last meeting we were at, we talked at length about what we were doing and who we are, and we had a really good time. It went longer, but it was a lot of fun. Go ahead.
Thank you, ladies.
I won't be able to say these, but the two fellows on the right are new members. The guy in the driving captain, who well is Guy Colty, I believe his name. He's a studio technician who now is doing blogs, podcasts, and writes some of the best essays I've ever heard. Linda knows. Is that his last name? It's Colty, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. He's just a fabulous writer and a new member. But we have some of our longest members on the other side. How long have you been a club member, Linda?
Probably 2007 or 8.
Yeah. I'm going to be embarrassed because I'm blocking. Do you remember this lady's name? That we just did a profile. Jan joined when the club started.
Really?
She's been a member forever.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and she has like 20 books. I mean, she's a very prolific writer, and
Failed on her last name. But...
yeah, I am too. I think it's something with J, but
I just wanted to make a comment, if I might, talking about new and board members and stuff. I just wanted to say what a great job this club has done under the board, under Sean during the pandemic. And the board has really done a good job. They've held this club really. So, I mean, I'm out there, I'm lecturing, I see other organizations, they're fighting the same thing. And to have 230 members, and we used to have 300. I mean, this is remarkable, really remarkable. And we'll build the coming to the meetings back up and, starting to rebuild the pandemic. But a big congratulations to everybody.
well, and in fact, if you don't know it, Anna Manwaring mentioned this, but she's been in the club since Bachelor, I think, but maybe even Barb Truex, one of the original presidents. But she, like Linda, really were responsible. I think Linda personally, really responsible for the club's growth. Because when Anna started, I think there were 36 or 45 members. So by the time Linda's in there, she and Sandy Baker get the club up to 300 members.
Yeah.
Well, that's in a very short period of time. It's innovation that we bring to the clubs. Go ahead.
But really, it really happens because you mention it to a friend who's a writer. When you bring your friends into this group, that's how we grow.
Now, I think it's important to just say, we have the most publications of any branch. And I'm in all of them but three. Oh, man.
Wow.
Maybe I can put them in later. Can I just redo the PDFs or something?
Say, Roger, but even more impressive is you don't have any of the old.
No, yeah,
You have a.
we have,
We do.
I think we're up to 23 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought these are the most recent, and they fit on the page and I see. And they're the ones that people pick up that call a while. The moment we put it out, they go, oh, what that? But if you notice, originally when these started, guys, these were poetry and prose. They were combined.
Right.
Now, when we moved, and my last one was combined, and so was Sonoma. Then when we moved into this upper tier, these are all prose only, and we moved to, under Linda's help and direction, and Les and Fran Claggett, we moved to poetry collections, which are really powerful. And all of these are available. We have some to give away, what I put out, and we can always sell them. They're always available in print. Go ahead.
Before you do that, I have to say, we have a Redwood Writers publishing arm of this organization.
Yeah.
And these books represent your beautiful contributions. And we are going to be thinking about doing a little bit more with them so they become more widely available, and potentially turning some of them into audiobooks as well as print books. Because as you all know, or maybe you don't know, audio is over a $2 billion industry and growing. So if you don't know about audio, you want to pay attention because we're going to be leading the way.
So if you notice, our most recent book, On Fire, is there, and it is back here. We have some copies available. We were able to get 20, and we have more coming in January. So if you'd like a copy, it's at the member price. It's also priced on Amazon. If you want to order multiple copies, use Amazon, because then we get the rating, which is really a nice plus for us as a club. It gives us status, as Sean can tell you about. But that is available, and it's surprisingly, it has some tough stuff in it because some are about the fire. My story has nothing to do with the fire. It's just about being fired up. Okay, or on fire. But the fact is, I have to say, it's a little bit smaller, but it's some of the best writing we've done. It's a really good book. So I really encourage you to take a look at it.
Hey, Roger, can I interject just one quick thing? With these anthologies, there's a couple, I think there's relatively new members here. These are great opportunities for people who may not have published a book, who may not ever want to publish a book, but they're a way to get involved in the publishing process to live up to the club's motto, which is writer helping write. That's what this club is all about. That's been the motto for a long time. This is an opportunity to put your best foot forward, work with an editor, have that tough conversation going back and forth, and actually bring something from your desktop to a published book. If you look at the percentage of how many people actually have an idea of wanting to publish a book or be a published author, you're part of the 1%. So that in and of itself is worth it.
Just on that note, John, I think you should notice that.
I know.
But these things, it's just a great way to get it out there. It's fun.
If you're not aware, Cynthia Gregory was our most recent prose editor, working with Chrissy and Sean, Chrissy specifically, who has done our interiors too. Sean and Chrissy were editors. Les Bernstein, Frank Claggett, of course, have been multiple poetry editors. A really great job. Tommy Whitener was one of our editors. Robbie Summers Bryant, Bob DiCelli, and myself all have been the most recent editors. I didn't have pictures of the next 4, so I just put this together. But I mean, you may not realize this. It's a volunteer job. It's a lot of work. that involves both coordination and skill as an editor, reader. Sometimes it's being able to tell an author, not yet, and yet have them still want to be part of the club. But congratulations to all our editors. You guys have done a great job.
Thank you.
Now, we also, as you know, usually in the summer, we have what I've called an anthology launch. It's where we launch these books, typically because we can do it at Linda Reed's house, which is the most beautiful place to do it. It's a lovely environment. If you haven't been there, you should go. It's
The most.
And I will say in the last poetry one, just again, because of technology, we're able to not only film it, take pictures, we recorded all of the readings.
Yeah.
So we have a movie of all the readings, and we'll do that in the future with more and more kind of events, because we're a little bit more technologically savvy today. It's hard to say without. Well, okay, at the top, you know who that is in the left-hand corner?
The winner of everything.
Yeah.
The most successful contest winner in the history of Redwood Writers. Jo-Anne. I mean, she's won more stuff than anybody.
Yeah.
She is so
Damn
good.
it.
She's so good.
She is a great writer. And as whoever mentioned, maybe Sean, we did put together from 4 years ago, put together a whole collection of stories that have won in the contest, because that's another kind of thing we really need to do. We get all these great stories, maybe 2 or 3 go in the newsletter, but then we lose them digitally. No one, keeps them.
Right.
But now if we have a copy, we can eventually, edit it a little probably and put it into a collection and sell it that way. But just a whole array. Now, another person that seems to chronically win, I think the fix is in, is LLR. No, LLR.
And
Well, yeah.
This puppy here, I mean, she's so competitive. The thing I liked was Robbie and I here with Sandy.
married to her.
This is a lovely painting of it's a lovely painting of the redwoods. It's really, I'm going to photograph. It's a beautiful photograph. And so this was a photo prompt to write a flash fiction short story. The 2 winning stories are horrific serial killer horror stories. Because that's the way we looked at it. And when I was announced the winner and Chrissy was 2, or Robbie was 2, she was like, damn you, I want to be number 1. It's are horrific.
What did you say to her? Like, fuck?
I did that ending of that second story in the Reader's Theater. No. Yeah, click clack. That's an book that's terrible. Demon. It's always in this guy's head going. It's a great book. Now, as you saw today, you didn't realize we had writers in today's place, but because of Linda's efforts with 6th Street, for a long time, we were able to do in their studio performed plays, Linda being one of the directors. And that was a really great event. And I was pleased to be in one of my, I think if you've never had your work read out loud or performed, you don't know what impact it has on you. As a writer, you're alone most of the time, and maybe your spouse reads it and says, I don't know, honey. But, thank you, my spouse back there, Lene.
Do you know why she's sitting with the wine?
She's certified. But the fact is that we have this nice relationship with these guys. They've now done their last 3 performances, all had our plays in them on different venues. So 3 nights of this, 4 months later, and so on. But I'm really proud of the fact that our work is being performed, because that's another level of recognition. Go ahead.
Is that the one in Occidental?
That was, the Church of the Oaks.
$15 for the
Well, yeah,
Well,
it's not free.
well, I saw it in the vet, and it said free in the ad.
Yeah, I didn't know it was free.
Well,
Why would, I mean,
I don't know, it said free.
they're a group. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry, but no. You know, just like lunch, Rod?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you haven't been there, again, thanks to Ginny Sloan and Sandy Baker and others, myself, I guess, getting this kind of first organized, with really Jeannie running the committee and doing all of the legwork. The Sonoma County Fair and our member booth, our club booth, has really become a nice event where you can go and sell your books, you can go and represent the club, and
It's such a great thing.
it's really nice. And I mean,
It's fun.
it's fun, and we're designing new things, as you may not realize this or notice even, but I do have pins, the old ones. You know, our logo has changed, so we're in the process with Judy of revising a lot of our publicity kind of stuff for new logos, new tables, and things like that over time. But I think just as a club, we are really, represented well, and some couple people, her particularly, you lady,
I love the fair.
she sells more damn books than anybody I can imagine.
Only sold 66.
Slacker.
And at her price point, she's gonna go to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Go ahead. And now, thanks to Sean Langwell and Judy and Pam Heck and Adele and Chrissy and Milena, Les, for our conference this year. We really had a great conference, great keynote, wonderful speakers. Some of our members like Amanda McTeague, just fantastic. If you didn't do it, that's from the prior year, but we have this packing party the weekend before, if you will, where we load the gifts and stuff or whatever we give out. If you've never done that, they're a lot of fun at Linda's house. Go ahead. The club and the parent club, CWC, honor 2 levels of service to the club. I will say I had a president of another branch say, what the hell does that matter? We're about writers. It's all about writing. And I'm like, no, this is a volunteer club. This is a club that strives on volunteers. And so we have 2 ways of recognizing dedication to service. One is at the board level, and that's called the Jack London Service Award. So every other year, an award is given out to a selected member if we vote on one, the board. And as you can see, myself and Robbie and Sandy and Jeannie Sloan, Linda McCabe, have all been lovely recipients and enjoyed, I think, that experience. You get a nice plaque and a pretty good meal, better than average chicken, and they're kind of fun. And then here in our club, here in the club, we also have the Helen S. Barnhart Award for service to the branch. And this is to try to recognize the broader membership, if you will. I don't mean that the other award couldn't be won by just a member, a non-board member, but typically they focus on board members because it's what you're doing for the entire parent club. Where this is what you're doing for the branch. And so this is an award, Chrissy won it this year, and Joel Burnett and Milena won it, and Robin Moore, all because of their long-term dedication to the club. And I will say, I have to say this, Cher, every year I ask Cher to run because her contribution to the club was monumental. And she's like, oh, I didn't do it. But you still did it. So good.
Not true.
Car wash coupon. She got a badge. Yeah, Linda got her a badge. So go ahead. Now, I know I chose very selectively, and I know it's unfair, but Midnight Desires, Seal of Love, Seal of Desire, Seal Me Up, Seal Over, Seal Again. Karen Hamilton has 4 multiple book collections, 12 books, all bestsellers. She gave away 250,000 ebooks for free to sell paperbacks.
Wow.
Wow, what a club member. If we had a VIP status, I'd give a tour. I mean, she's now in the Floridas, but she's a really lovely person, and she didn't start until her 60s. Yeah. Robbie, of course, has an award-winning new book. Christy and I probably compete for the most books. I'm in the most unsold books. We've each got a handful. Natasha Yim, what can you say when Disney asked you to write a Mulan book? Oh, man. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Amanda, just because that's she won best new book for NPR or something. I mean, she won a nice award.
It's a good book. It is one of the best.
Her as a librettist, her concerts are performed at Carnegie Hall. You know, she's an opera writer.
What was that? Is that?
Opera singer.
Amanda.
Yeah.
Amanda, oh yeah.
That's
And
really
Wendy Barnett has, I think, 3 series of books, but this preschool book is a really lovely book for a certain age group of kids. There's dozens of other writers that have multiple books, but these are ones I was very familiar with, and I had photos of you guys.
And Jeannie Sloan could be up there.
Yes, you certainly could. But let's go to the next, because then we have, in fact, here's our A to Ds. This is one of our oldest members, Mary Alder. There's a Sandy Baker, there's a Wendy. We've got poetry. Sky Blaine's lovely book about her son. Just some great books. The Letters from Italy, that's a fabulous book. Go ahead. Then we have our E to K's with Susan Jansen's Wordstuck. That's a great book. Madam of the Heart. Wow, that's a good one. And there's Pam Heck's new Amazing Animals book. He's got an example of how to tell, I assume.
Yep.
Go ahead. Here's our L's to R's. Sean and the dueling spouses. You know, Sean and Chrissy. Marilyn Lanier and her Hard Pan, lovely book. There's my Ghosts book, which is a murder mystery, not about ghosts. This is an interesting book. This covers Linda McCabe, what our past president.
That's a great book.
Yeah. So, and this, to be sure, this is Dusty Rhodes, and it's
That just came out.
It just came out, and it's, you go ahead.
No, you said.
Okay, it's going to be turned into a television program, a series. And the book right next to this, The Last Polar Bear.
Yeah, by Dana.
Dana Rodney has written an incredibly powerful book. It's a new genre. It's called eco fiction.
Yeah.
And I was blown away. She read an excerpt at the last Writers Circle, and we all just went, okay, the last Writers Circle, every author who brought books with them, Jeannie brought her books, Jeannie Jositis, we were buying books because the power of hearing those books read out loud, we went, ooh, and Pam read from hers. It was incredible. If you've never gone to a writer's circle or a salon, I want to encourage you to do that, because you know what? When you can stand up and read from your book, that's how you can connect with people's hearts. And all of these books are to be read. So please take advantage of that opportunity.
Now, just an aside, because I was blocking for a second on the author who I know very well, she lives right by me, Elaine Rock. But the thing is, here's a lesson to all of you. In that Dusty Rhodes book, you can't read her name at the bottom because it's not visible.
Right.
And that is a cardinal error that someone made on her behalf. But I'm reading Last Polar Bear too, and then right next to it is one of Linda Reed's lovely book, Something in Stone. Go ahead. And then here's kind of our last group. There's Jeannie up there. Rebecca Rosenberg's book that she talked about just recently at our meeting. This is really, this is our Susan Solomon. But now this is a book about Paris and her experience in Paris, very different from her typical books.
Yeah.
You couldn't read it and know it was her, which you usually can. There's Tommy Whitener's new book. Some scandalous short stories in there, I will say. Scandalous. And Jeannie's book, and again, another you know, Natasha, I'm looking to say Goldilocks, Goldilocks and the Three Pandas. I mean, that is just the funniest cute book. But this isn't all of them. If I've missed your book, send it to me, you know, send me a JPEG and I'll put it into a new thing. We also have, I don't know if they're all gone, but we had some flyers I made that show this collection of books so that you could pick one if it's not up here, order it on Amazon and read it over the holidays, because these are fabulous books. And, you know, we, of the 226 members, more than 120 are published novelists, published authors. I mean, I'm not counting the poetry, short stories, plays. I'm just talking books. Now that's remarkable.
That is.
It's remarkable.
And the quality of our books the writing and the quality of our books has gotten better every single year because we're writers helping writers. I'm very impressed because I'll say when I first joined, I was going, okay, well, this is okay. And then as I'm reading more and more of what's been published, I'm getting blown away. None of these books are distinguishable from any of traditional publishers. And I'll say, I think we do better because we're careful. We get feedback from critique groups that we belong to, and we ask questions. And I don't think that happens so much in a traditional publishing setting. We're really looking at how can we get better? How can we communicate? How can we touch people's hearts?
Can I say something? I just want to say that I don't think that this book would have ever happened without this club. This was a dream I had years ago, and I had no idea what to do with it until I joined this club. And every time I hit a stumbling block, there was somebody there to kind of help me and tell me, you know, how to take care of this. You can do this, or you know.
Yeah.
So I just want to say it's been a wonderful experience to be part of the club.
And thanks to IO groups.
Yes.
That
Groups IO.
really helps with problems.
Yeah.
Help me.
I do want to say a special thanks to Dr. Lynette Chandler back there. I only going to say this because her 4th edition textbook has sold over 100,000 copies. So if you really want to sell them, guys, write that self-help book, you know, the minute solver or whatever. I mean, write a textbook, write it, because fiction. I'm going to stay with crime. But you just have to really understand there's a huge audience for technical writing. So if you have any of that background, don't ignore it, explore it, because it can be really rewarding too, for sure. And we are going to do, Judy,
This was very good. Thank you.
we are going to do some different contests coming up that explore genres we've never done before. Probably essay.
No, yeah,
And-
Jan is gonna do essay.
Oh, that's right. Jan's right there. Right.
Yes.
Jan's going to do essay, and we haven't ever even allowed essays in the anthologies. So it'd be really nice to see. Can they be kind of edgy?
Well, look who's being, the contest chair.
Yeah. So thank you, everybody, and
Could I make a very general announcement?
Come up here.
Yeah, come on
Come
up.
up here.
yeah, we're still filming.
Uh-oh, uh-oh.
Oh.
No, we're good. We're good. We're good.
We'll get back.
Maybe.
I think it's
Yeah, I
gonna,
think
yeah.
so.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Okay.
It's my
See,
pleasure.
here's where you are. See this?
Yeah, so you need to go that way a little bit. There.
And step back. Step back.
Never
Why are we?
It's confusing.
Shadow. Okay, you're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew. It's my pleasure to do author lunch, and it's going to be February 19th.
We're not sure of the date.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to make it general.
It's okay. Just say it's gonna be this, it'll be
Um,
the second
it
or the
is-
third weekend in February.
It's going to be in February.
Third week.
Right. Third weekend.
It's a free event for the general public. I hope to do press releases, family, friends, members.
and it is sponsored by our club. We will have authors who have published within a year, who it has to be a new publication. I'm looking forward to making all the new member authors a star. That's my job. And I thoroughly enjoy the event. I'd like to invite everybody to come. Stay tuned. And those of you who have recently published between last February and this February, here is just a general flyer about what author launch is, like reading for 5 minutes, etc. So come and see me if you think that you would like to be in author launch and are a member. Excuse my hoarse voice.
I got one last thing to say, just because it's an opportunity and she's not gonna do it herself, but
Right here. Oh.
We have to get tape to put on the floor. Yeah,
That's perfect.
just like,
except you can't see a thing.
I can't see it. Jeannie, now I know what you're talking about, so.
Name and face.
Is this what people have to do on stage, or they just kind of get out of line?
No.
I was doing this for Jeannie's behalf. Anyway, it's been a pleasure serving for the last 2 years prior, but because we got to make sure that you get some acknowledgement as well. Jeannie stepped up into this role as president. Judy, I said Jeannie. Judy has stepped into this role as president. And it's not easy to go out of your comfort zone. I wrote a book about being out of your comfort zone. And I still am out of my comfort zone day in and day out. So I think you deserve a large round of applause for everything you've done. Just
Well, this group doesn't happen by accident. I know, it's like, yeah, because there's this light here and this light here. It happens because we come together and we're generous people. It happens because we're curious, and it happens because we care about each other. And that's what I love about this group. And we've got some gifties for those of you who have volunteered. And Roger was kind enough to be in charge of getting those produced for us. So I want to start with the board members. If you would all come up, please.
We turn off. We don't need the right now, right?
We're off the, we turn off the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I have to say that this board works tremendously hard, and there are some things that we're doing that are innovative. We push the envelope, and we want to be responsible to serving you, and we respect each other. Doesn't mean we always agree, but it means we respect each other, and that is so important. And the way that I view being president is not that I'm saying this is the way things are. I'm here to hold the space so that we can come together and have conversations, that we can explore ideas. And because of that, that's how some of these new ideas have emerged. We're not stuck in, you have to do it this way. That's the only way we can do it. We're really looking at how can we best do things, and how can we make it easier for you as writers and answer your questions. So Adele, come up here. Adele, I have to say, Adele Layton is our cheerleader. Adele brings such joy to us every time she is at a meeting, at an event, and I just love that about And this
Thank you so
gift
much. I appreciate that.
Thank you, my dear.
Judy, I'd like to add two things.
Oh, yes,
about
please.
Adele.
Oh, no. Oh, a big reveal.
Adele is my assistant for author launch, doing everything behind the scenes. And at the Sonoma County Fair, she helps me set up and take down. And nobody knows how much this
Oh.
wonderful
I had no
person
idea.
does.
I had no-
It's
I
been
know, nobody knows.
Well,
Great team.
since you're right here, all right. Yeah, thank you, Adele. Since you're right
Thank
here,
you so much.
Jeannie has
Oh, gee.
two big jobs in the year, in addition to being vice president the whole year. Author launch and Sonoma County Fair. Now, the amount of coordination
Oh.
that goes into both of those, oh my God,
Yeah.
it just boggles my mind. I couldn't do it. And you've done it and you've gotten exposure for us. You've helped the authors and every year it's gotten better. And oh, this was even funnier. So the first year that I was on the board, Jeannie's internet went somewhere else.
I don't like Zoom, I'm sorry.
No, but it wasn't her fault, but because she had prepped all of the authors so carefully, I was able to step in and with your notes, it went perfectly with that one exception that you weren't there. But we were able to capture the author launch. We recorded it. Authors stayed on track, stayed on time. And if you have ever been in a situation where you had to step in and then you went, what am I doing?
Yeah.
That wasn't the case. You had worked with the authors, you had organized it beautifully, you had given them the feedback they needed so they could be the best they could be. That is an exceptional leader. So thank you
It's
so much.
simply because I believe in the motto, writers helping. writers.
And you live that. Thank you so much. Wendy.
And I think you've been on the board, Melena.
I was on the board when it was at Marvin's in Cotati.
Oh my
with
gosh.
Linda McKay.
It had to be a tiny group. Okay. Tommy is our comic relief. And if you don't know, Tommy was an attorney in his previous life. And he is so good at keeping us, well, legal. He's still keeping us legal for the most part. And I just like your approach because you ask the right questions and you contribute. Oh, at the last board meeting, he had the best hat, the best hat,
You did.
even better than this. So I want to thank you, my dear, for your help and contributions. Okay. If you don't know, Roger is not only a past president of this group, he's membership chair of this group. He is the president of CWC, California Writers Club, all of us. And he is the techno whiz beyond techno whiz.
Maybe.
And let's see,
Redwood Writers
he's good at,
Press.
he's Redwood Writers Press. He's an editor. He is.
He's at the fair.
He's at the fair. I don't know what you don't do. Oh,
Dishes.
dishes. Oh. Nice dishes. Now, I know. And Roger is there if you've got questions. He's willing to answer your questions anytime.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to know because not everybody is willing to share their time, but you are. Plus, he knows where to get good toys.
I just want to say that this is a nice little gift from Judy and we all appreciate it. And when you see it, it's going to light our way into the future.
Oh, that is a good segue. Well, without Chrissy, let's see, what wouldn't we have? We wouldn't have a newsletter. We wouldn't have a website. What else? Let's see. She edits. She's sweet. She knows how to calm the waters when things get a little contentious, which sometimes they do. And she knows how to train other people to take over those volunteer positions so that she can shine doing what she's doing. And now, how many books do you have published? 12. 12. Makes me look like a piker. I haven't gotten my books published yet. She's such a joy to work with. And if I've got something that's kind of, I'm going, yeah, what do we do now? She's always there to answer the call. So I so appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. This is just a very small pleasure. And this guy was a hard act to follow. Because let's face it, he's tall, he's handsome, he can marry his own book. Sean,
Shrinking.
I know, get up. Sean is super funny. And you know what I think is really great about him? If he doesn't know how to do something, he says, I don't know how to do this, but I'm going to figure it out. And do you know how to do this? He knows how to ask good questions, and he knows what to listen to and what not to listen to. And that, my friends, is a unique quality. Because a lot of times we hear, oh, you should do this. Oh, you should do that. Oh, you should do all of these things. Yeah. Well, you know, we're human beings, and he's working a full-time job. He's writing, being the leader here. I had no idea how many more hours this job was than when I looked at it from the outside, and you carried it off beautifully, and you're there when I need you. And
we had a good conference too.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know.
He's not shy.
I mean, there's just a full-time job
Well, you don't know what I'm going to ask you to do next. So
let me check my calendar.
Because Sean is out in the world among businesses all the time, I'm going to be tapping on his expertise from what he learned doing the conference, along with a couple other people, because I want to talk to Rebecca Rosen, but she won't take the job full time. Yeah, we're going to be doing more outreach because we want more people to know about us. And I have to be very honest. The only reason I found out about Redwood Writers is because my enrolled agent, who is a neighbor, said, "Do you know about them?" I said, "No." And I came because somebody told me. Well, why are we a secret? Why are we a secret? There are writers out there who need us. So I'm going to be tapping you to help with that.
It'll be fun because one of the things that you guys don't know yet, we'll let you know next, we talked about at our board meeting, is that we are going to have, I'll chair up a committee to actually update our website into the 21st century so that we can be found on this thing that's called the internet.
What?
Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you're doing good.
Melena, oh my God. Melena cracks me up. Okay, she can sit there and knit. She keeps our books on track, and she has great ideas. What can you expect from someone who is so solid and available?
Mm-hmm.
She really knows her stuff, and she does it with good cheer. And you know what? She's a great writer. On top of that, she's a nice person. Yeah, she's a nice person, and she's really an integral part of this group. And I just am so excited that you're going to be working on the play contest, because that's going to give us another opportunity to shine in public. Yeah. And I even have another idea. I live in Sonoma, and if you aren't aware, most of the movie theaters are really suffering.
Yeah.
You know, if they get 20 people in a show, that's a big house. Well, the Sebastiani Theater, which is the most beautiful theater, guess what they're doing? They're going to move the movie part of the theater to what was the green room area. And then the stage, which is, oh my God, I've sung on that stage and it has incredible acoustics. They're going to do all live theater in that space.
Oh.
Now, it does help that I'm friends with the manager, Roger Roten, but I'm thinking we're going to take our plays on the road, not just in one location. So I would love to have us do it in that theater in Sonoma. And if you've got a venue, let us know about that. Yeah, seriously.
Really good. Yeah, Cloverdale's really.
Is it a, it's not, it
Yeah.
does readings.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna have some more fun. Yeah. So thank you so much for coming up. Yes. Pam Heck. I've served with her on the board. She has done so much in terms of your personal growth as a writer. Okay, she's like Linda Reed, poetry, fiction, painter, author, teacher. I'm teacher. I mean, both of you have those tremendous talents. And you were instrumental in making sure the conference went so smoothly because Pam was in charge of the volunteers and she had redundancy built in because you know what? Stuff happens. And because of that, it went by seamlessly. It was beautiful. People were ready. They pitched in where they needed to, and I love it. So you get a special gift each year. Now, yes, so right here, Roger wants to take a picture. Oh.
Oh, wait. Got on video.
We can only smile for so long.
Longer than me.
Thank you. Thank you. And I would like to invite those of you who volunteered to come up here because we've got some goodies for you.
You're on back.
We got them on the back table. You can either come up in front or you can go in the back, but I'm going to show the folks. Those of you who didn't come into the room today, look what you're missing. These beautiful bags, they're quilted. They're great. You can put your books in there. It's got a pocket and it has our logo on it so that you can broadcast your favorite place to be, which is Redwood Writers. Linda Reed, come on up. And Robin, I want you to come up too.
Nice.
Because these two ladies, I feel like you're bookends. And so Robin has been running the Writers Salon. She took over from Cher, and I haven't gotten to go yet. Because they usually go to Bloody. I know. But I want to, and Robin comes. I want to. And I have gone to the Writer's Circle, which how many of you have never gone to a Writer's Circle? Okay. There's a reason to go. Not only do you get to be in the presence of Linda Reed and all of her beautiful artwork, it is just gorgeous, but it's an intimate setting. Both of these venues, the Writer's Circle and the Writer's Salon, they're intimate. There's usually about 20 to 25 people. So you get a chance to read and listen and get feedback on your work if you choose to. Nobody gives you, I know, nobody blurts out stuff, but you can invite people to give you feedback. And over the years, what I've seen, Linda, because Linda is also a director, she's helped writers improve their ability to communicate and read. Because I'll tell you, the first time you do it, it's nerve-wracking. And the second time, it's nerve-wracking. But when you get the opportunity to share and to be with friends, it gets easier and easier. And I love it. And yeah, Rod, yeah.
The new thing is you can bring your own
little critique.
Oh,
sheet.
yes.
You got that, Simone?
You did. It was funny. It was great. Yeah. So, you know,
Well, I go to Robin sometimes and she comes to mine. So we invite you to come and read for 5 minutes
It's
and,
great.
and listen to other writers read. And it'll help you form a critique group if you want one. And you get to know other writers when you listen to their work.
yes. So
Thank you.
Thank you both. Oh, and I have to say, oh, Mara, you've got to come up again too. Robin and Mara are the brain trust behind and Adele for the October costume extravaganza. It was, I mean, seriously, it was great fun. It was so much fun. And you know what? We're gonna do it again next year. So you've got a year to plan your costume. See if you can beat me. Yeah, but you know what? I like that they came to the board and said, we've got this idea.
Yeah.
And that's how you do it. You say, oh, I've got this idea. Let's see what happens. And, you know, it was amazing. And I think we want to see more opportunities to do fun things like that. So thank you. Oh, yes, Jeannie Jositis. I know, I've got two Jeannies. What are the odds on that? Now, seriously, two Jeannies who are amazing, and yes, and my little bow. You see, I've got skinny hair and it doesn't want to stay. So let me see if I can get it on again. There we go. Jeannie, come on up, honey. Come up. Jeannie is going to be relaunching the writer support group. And she's got some, we've already talked.
Yes.
We've already talked about some of the incredible ideas. You get another peek at a pen too.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
Some of the incredible ideas she has for it with a little more focus, some exercises for you so that you're not just coming and saying, I've got a question, but learning from.
We'll have some topics.
I know, but you are such an incredible writer and you are such a kind person. So I'm going to encourage you to take advantage of her wisdom. So stay tuned for the details. But thank you for your contribution.
Thank you.
Yeah. And who am I missing? No, what?
I just want to say, so when you pick up your gifts, which is back here if you want, or there, but there's the bag, and then also take a little notebook.
Yeah.
A little writer book. But then remember, you're welcome to take one of the books up here at the front table as a gift to take home. We had a lovely woman who donated a collection of poetry books. They're old, with some fabulous poetry books in there. If you're interested in poetry, you know, some older books. I took the Carl Sandburg. But do take a book if you want, if it looks good to you. And like I said, at the end, if there's some extra still there, you might want to take an extra, but start with one book and go from there. And we're gonna all fight over Langwell's, probably the Langwell's books, but.
Well, we could use them for the fair.
We
can't stop.
We don't have any left.
Okay, let me just
No fair.
get us signed off
We
here
have-
too. So for those of you who are on Zoom, know that in January, we have Alka Joshi, the creator of The Henna Artist, which also is going to be a Netflix series. And she's written 3 books in this series. The 3rd one just came out. She's going to be coming to you via Zoom. So we're going to determine whether we're going to meet physically or just on Zoom. So stay tuned. We will let you know in the invitation. And then February is author launch. And again, I'm going to encourage those of you who haven't yet volunteered to please be in touch, because there are small jobs, larger jobs, and really big jobs. And when you contribute as a volunteer, as I've said before, you get more out of your experience in the club, and the friendships that you get are invaluable. So thank you all. I hope you all have happy holidays, and I'll see you either in person, like I am now, or on Zoom in January. Thank you so much, and thank you all for being here.
Okay, just play the next song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm so glad we can always find.
Yes.